My name is Andrew Schecter, and I am the president.
Is there a movie that really shows everything you need to know about the right way to win in politics these days? That's the question that came up when I was talking to Cliff Schecter on my podcast. We've got 3 for you. There may be a surprise or 2 in there. The setup for this was a discussion we were having about how President Biden turned a stupid political stunt from Marjorie Taylor Greene right back at her. And more important, right back at Donald Trump and the entire MAGA Republican cult. Marjorie Taylor Greene said, say her name about the young woman who was killed by an undocumented immigrant. And Joe Biden said, sure.
Lincoln Riley.
And goes right back at her.
An innocent young woman who was killed. To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now.
Cliff explained why that moment worked so well.
You don't have to go into a frothing, screaming, whatever, to be incredibly critical counterattack. You take their attack and you use the weaknesses they've accrued by their failed attack or their attempted attack, and you turn it on them. And I think what he did there, saying her name and just being like, it's going to intimidate me. All Marjorie Taylor Greene needed in the outfit she was wearing is an I'm with stupid t-shirt and maybe a beer can on her hat with a funnel going into her mouth. She looked like some trashy, she didn't look like a congresswoman. She looked like some trashy person showing up at some NASCAR event. And so he basically responded by saying the person's name and then saying, oh, and by the way, we have a bipartisan bill where the most conservative Republicans in the Senate negotiated it, but you refused to sign it. You mock them in the ways that show that they're weak and show that they're ill-informed and show that they're wrong and show that they're bad for America.
So then we got into the real discussion about, is there a movie that really captures how instead of being passive or going into a defensive crouch, you don't back down a bit, and you even turn it around. The movie Clear and Present Danger. Harrison Ford is Jack Ryan. They're all sitting around the fictional president. A friend of the president's has gotten into a scandal. His advisors are saying, distance yourself. Pretend you don't know the guy.
Downplay your relationship with Harden somehow.
And Harrison Ford is go the other way with it. Why don't you say, if the press says, was he a friend? You say, no, he's a close friend. If they say, is he a close friend? You say, no, he's a lifelong friend.
I would go in the other direction. If a reporter asked if you and Harden were friends, I'd say, no, we're good friends. If they asked if you were good friends, I'd say, no, we're lifelong friends. I would give them no place to go.
Administration. The New York Times is reporting that you and Harden were good friends. Is that true?
No, not quite. We weren't good friends. We were lifelong friends.
And in that moment, Joe Biden saying to Marjorie Taylor Greene, yeah, I'll say her name. I'm not afraid of this issue because actually I have the upper hand on this issue. You're the one who looks like a complete raving lunatic. The second movie moment just captures the core idea of not playing defense and making sure to always hit back harder. The other one, I'm thinking The Untouchables. Are you thinking The Untouchables?
I wasn't, but that's awesome too.
I was going to do Sean Connery. They bring a knife. You bring a gun. They put one of yours in the hospital. You put one of theirs
in the morgue.
Want to get Capone? Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife. You pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital. You send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. And that's how you get Capone.
But then Cliff suggested our third movie. And I have to say, I think I like his the best.
In The American President, Andrew Shepard, played by Michael Douglas, he's like, I don't think it's my job to tell 50% of the American people it's wrong. And he's like, if only one guy is doing the talking, that is who they're going to listen to.
People want leadership, Mr. President. In the absence of genuine leadership, they'll listen to anyone who steps up to the microphone.
The Republican in that was accusing the president of being a card-carrying member of the ACLU.
For the record, yes, I am a card-carrying member of the ACLU. But the more important question is, why aren't you, Bob?
Why aren't you?
Right.
Why aren't you? Because this is an organization who stood up and their whole purpose has been to defend the Bill of Rights. So the question is, Bob Rumson, which is his name, why are you not a member?
Now, this is an organization whose sole purpose is to defend the Bill of Rights. So it naturally begs the question, why would a senator, his party's most powerful spokesman and a candidate for president, choose to reject upholding the Constitution?
He turned the thing back on him. And then he started going after him. We have multiple Democrats. We have, I'd say, a series of at least 24 Democrats, governors, members of Congress, senators, who regularly are getting viral clips for doing exactly that. And I've always said that changes culture, right? I really do think Joe Biden started getting this to a certain degree in 2020. He at least used the F word and called it semi-fascist to be MAGA Republican, which was a big step for him. He went after MAGA Republicans. And I think that's part of the reason in 2022 that we had such a good year. It's because they started leaning into all of this and saying, no, we're not going to let their charges go unanswered.